You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Carl, I think it's very simple. Rafael Devers, after all that had happened with Boston this spring, the move from third base to DH, then them wanting him to play first base, did not want to be in Boston anymore, and the Red Sox saw this as an opportunity to get rid of more than $250 million that he was owed, and the San Francisco Giants are taking on every penny of the remaining contract that runs through 2033 at the
Holy sweet baby Jesus. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Wow. What a weekend in the world of sports. Goodness gracious, unbelievable. Red Sox sweep the Yankees. Normally that would be a lead story, except for ESPN Radio, for any network. And they climb within a half a game of the wild card spot. But after the game, craziness as they deal Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants for a plethora of prospects, which we will get to, at least, or a couple of prospects, and one guy who can make an impact immediately. We're going to break it all down for you and tell you what went down in case you missed it and weren't watching Sunday Night Baseball last night with the aforementioned San Francisco Giants and the Dodgers. Wow, so much going on. An incredible finish at the soggy Oakmont Country Club for the U.S. Open. What an absolute unbelievable round for J.J. Spaun. I loved it. I love when par means something. He's the only one that finished under par. We have the video and some audio of the final couple of putts on 17 and 18. Absolutely incredible. There was a big NBA trade as well. Lottie freaking da, as far as I'm concerned. But there is a Game 5 tonight between the Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Indiana Pacers in Game 5 of the NBA Finals, which is down like 22% from last year. I'll be watching tonight along with 7 other people as well. The Florida Panthers get back at it. They can win back-to-back Stanley Cups if they can close out the Edmonton Oilers in Game 6 at Sunrise tomorrow night. We've got some highlights, which we hopefully will get to from Game 5. Brad Marchand, absolutely, boy, oh boy, he's edging closer to the Conn Smythe. Not sure he's going to win it, but man, oh man, is he going to be in the running. And what the Panthers played great Saturday night against the Edmonton Oilers, who laid a big fat egg and came out listless, and the Panthers did not, and they took it to them, scoring first in the 4th straight game, and they went on to win the game 5-2. We'll get to all of that, some NFL news to tell you about as well, but we are going to start, and we say good morning to Angel Martinez, and thanks everybody for checking us out here on the Pete Sheppard Show, following me on the awesome video platform, following me on Twitter and X at PShep326, on the Facebook pages, on YouTube, Kick, Rumble, CSN Florida, LinkedIn, and call or text the show 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650, and of course, download the awesome app, SR1029 The Game, SR1029thegame.com. Angel, we say good morning to you, and I have my special shirt on today, and this kind of fits the program. Stewie, with words of wisdom, I've stopped listening. Why have you kept talking? It is unbelievable what is that. First of all, how was your weekend before we get going here? How was your weekend? Lots of thunder boom booms up your way and my way too, on and off, but we needed the rain and didn't need some of the thunder and lightning, but nevertheless. How was your weekend?
Good. Other than busy, working as usual. Celebrate yesterday, of course, our first
Father's Day, yes. I want to say happy Father's Day to everybody from yesterday.
Yes, and a happy Father's Day to the dads out there. No matter, listen, even if you own as Pete as well, happy Father's Day to him because he has Luna. So one thing people tend to forget, you don't have to have a human child. You can have a canine because you're also a dad regardless and a mom. So some people, like my other friend Scott back in Philadelphia, he has had dogs basically all his life growing up. He never wanted kids, but his kid has always been a dog. So happy Father's Day to those who have canines and other animals. But It was good. Yesterday we had a crazy round of lightning come through where it was actually pulling the electric from the house and then sending it back, which is a first ever for around here. I've never seen something like that. And we're watching Battle Camp on Netflix, and all of a sudden just shoop, it would take away the electric and send it right back. So I don't know what the heck that was all about. Maybe it was a Devers trade. Who knows? But all I know is that
That didn't happen till nighttime.
Yeah, well,
Well, late afternoon, well, early evening, really. Yeah, early
Yeah.
evening. Can't tell when the sun goes down. It's so late now. But anyway, what an unbelievable finish at the U.S. Open as well. We'll get the video of that. I mean, just a spectacular weekend, spectacular Father's Day. I know many of my brothers and sisters in New England spent the day watching the Red Sox, and I'm sure some of the guys and some of the girls maybe even watched the U.S. Open, which got delayed a couple of times. I mean, I couldn't believe they finished the round. I couldn't believe it. And then JJ Spawn, just an amazing stuff. But let's get right to it, Angel. The big deal last night that came down, and I was outside walking Luna and talking to a neighbor when this happened. I walked back in the house, and I was like, oh, my God. At first, I was outraged. I don't know. I'm still I'm sort of numb to it. I'm not outraged anymore. I was kind of pissed at the beginning, even though Devers has had started really looking into and listening to a lot of people. And it sucks because I can't get Lou Merlone and I can't get Ian Brown and Buck and some others that I would love to have on the show today, because they're all flying to Seattle. They're all on their way out there, and they were going to get in. They probably got in, and they might just be getting in now, or may have gotten in a couple hours ago. So nobody wanted to get up at 5:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, Seattle time to come on the show. So I understand that. So tomorrow, but we do have Greg Dickerson coming on today, a good friend of mine, longtime broadcaster in the New England area and on national, did ESPN radio as well for a number of years, if I remember correctly. He is going to join us, former great sideline reporter for the Boston Celtics. Should have never lost his job back in the day with Mike Gorman. You see the picture on Facebook. So we're going to get Greg can talk about anything. So it'll be a lot of fun to catch up with him. You know, if there was nothing going on, I would just shit all over Stephen A. Smith for the tweet over him watching or playing solitaire on his phone and got caught during the game. And I know he tried to pan it off. I can't wait to see today later on after this show if he even addresses it, and faking that a $20 million a year guy is sitting there during the game playing solitaire on his phone. It's just a bad look. It's probably an overhyped story, no question about it. But nevertheless, it is it's a horrible look for him. But that's way down the bottom of the totem pole today. The Red Sox trading Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants last night. The Red Sox relieved a left-handed starter, Kyle Harrison, who was supposed to start the game last night, Angel, on ESPN against the Dodgers. They pulled him. They get right-hander Jordan Hicks, outfield prospect James Tibbs III, and rookie league righty Jose Bayo as well. The Giants will cover the remainder of Devers' contract, which is huge, which runs through 2033 and will pay him more than $250 million. So I'm asking everybody to govern their passions a little bit. Look at this whole thing from a three-dimensional standpoint. And it's funny because one of my favorite people, Bill Sparrows of the Boston Herald, last Wednesday, Angel, remember how he said, and I quote, because we were talking about how is Alex Cora going to manage his team once Abreu came back and once Bregman came back. And he had the famous quote, very profound, of saying, these things have a way of working themselves out. Well, sure as hell did. They traded Rafael Devers to San Francisco. Now, when these two guys come back, and I'm not sure the exact dates when Bregman and Abreu come back, the offensive power is going to be there. The deal is shocking. The timing of it is shocking. You start reading more and more. Jeff Passan, we're going to hear from him. This whole thing went down crazy. They were actually, I saw a text last night from Lou Merlone. I texted him because I wasn't sure he was going to make I forget the Red Sox announcer schedules if they're going to make it. Obviously, they're all going to Seattle. So they took Rafael Devers off the flight before takeoff, and he had to take a cab back to Fenway to get his stuff. And that's when he and the team found out that he had been traded. Absolutely bizarre. Now, the Red Sox look so foolish in all of this because it started in spring training. We have been talking about this guy since March. We've been talking about the lack of communication, whatever it is, between Alex Cora, Devers, John Henry, Sam Kennedy, the president, Craig Breslow, the GM. It has been one big clusterfuck over there. It is no question about it. And I'm sitting here today. They sweep the Yankees. They're a half game behind Seattle for the wild card spot. The Red Sox and Twins, the Twins are like a 1 percentage point ahead, but they're both one game over 500, half game behind. So they're back in it. An incredible pitching performance by the Red Sox over the weekend. Incredible clutch hitting, all the way around. And it's funny because Rafael Devers, did hit a home run yesterday too. Hit a solo shot, barely made it over the monster, but it was a line drive. It hit. Would have been a home run in a lot of parks, but it's a controversial one initially because it hit just over the monster, and there's a little between the seats and the monster. There's a little barrier, and it hit that. It was clearly a home run. But after that, Angel, as I'm watching the game, he was in the middle of the bench, or I don't know, toward the left center part of the bench, sitting there all alone. Nobody near him. I thought that was a little bit bizarre. And I said, it's him, and it's whatever. It's Rafi. He's a little, he's a little quirky. And then you find out this deal, how it happened, how it went down, why it happened. Apparently, there was a really bad disconnect the last few weeks with him and the club, despite him hitting the ball really well. I mean, there's a lot to undress here. Chris Cotillo, who covers the Red Sox, he does the podcast on MassLive.com with our buddy Sean McAdam. And he had a great tweet, which I retweeted. A source with knowledge of the Red Sox, Rafael Devers' relationship, described it tonight as, quote, an unsalvageable situation for both parties, unquote. Devers frustrated with mixed messaging, quote, from different voices, unquote, in the organization, felt like a scapegoat. The root was what the player felt was disorganized communication from the jump this year. Well, that is 100% Mona Lisa Vito, dead on balls, accurate. No question about it. We've been talking about this since March. Well, in case you didn't hear about it, and then you tuned into ESPN last night and were watching, Angel, if we could scroll down. First one under awful. This is Jeff Passan joining the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball broadcast last night to talk about this stunning trade that happened between the Red Sox and the San Francisco Giants.
Right. Nope. Wait a minute. Where's it at?
I don't know. It's not too far down. It's under awful announcing. Jeff Passan joins ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah. No, I'm looking here as far as why it isn't making a connection on this.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Oh, for love, dear God.
All right, well, you're finding that. I have other stuff. So let me tell you, let's just give you a highlight. I'll just give you a highlight real quick, a couple of highlights of this game. First of all, Trevor Story's RBI single, bottom of the first, makes it 1-0.
And Trevor is having an excellent month, RBI-wise, too, hitting .319 in June.
Oops, my bad. My bad. Here we go.
And Trevor is having an excellent month, RBI-wise, too, hitting .319 in June. With 12 runs batted in and 2 homers. The looper into left field and down for a base hit. Red Sox on the board. Trevor Story again. So he broke the bat. He'll take the RBI. It'll be his 36th, and the Red Sox lead 1-0.
Well, that's a thing. And it got in Trevor Story's kitchen. He got it out there far enough. This is beautiful.
It really was. It was 1-0 Red Sox. Rafael Devers came up on the bottom of the 5th.
He'll hit a high fly left field back toward the wall. Dominguez turning around. That one is on that top shelf, maybe. That is gone. That's a home run. That got over the red line, and a home run for Rafi. Red Sox take a 2-0 lead. His 15th home run. Yankees are going to check it. The third base umpire.
Thanks to Dave O'Brien and Lou Merlone, who were both on their way to the West Coast of Seattle. Brian Bayo, so 2-0 was the final. Great relief work by Barandino and Whitlock, and Brian Bayo was outstanding yesterday. Threw 114 pitches, 72 for strikes, 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, struck out 8, and walked 3 as the Red Sox sweep the Yankees. Yankees' first time they've been swept all year, and man, it was something else. Jay says something for sure does not pass the smell test. Well, the smell has been a little stinky. and wretched since March. I mean, let's face it, in Fort Myers, I could smell it from here, and I live 2 miles away from JetBlue. So I'm telling you, it has been around for a while. Okay, now let's get to, if we can, last night. Here's Jeff Passan joining the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball crew to talk about the stunning trade that sent Rafi from the Red Sox to the Giants.
And Sean Jelly did. Let's bring our baseball insider Jeff Passan in for a conversation. What's the overarching kind of message about this type of deal from both teams?
Carl, I think it's very simple. Rafael Devers, after all that had happened with Boston this spring, the move from third base to DH, then them wanting him to play first base, did not want to be in Boston anymore. And the Red Sox saw this as an opportunity to get rid of more than $250 million that he was owed. And the San Francisco Giants are taking on every penny of his remaining contract that runs through 2033. At the same time, the Red Sox in Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks get a couple of arms. They're also getting James Tibbs, the first-round pick from the San Francisco Giants last year, 13th overall out of Florida State, as well as one more prospect. Regardless of the mechanics of this deal, Carl, it is a shocker. The timing is shocking. The magnitude of the player is shocking. And again, Rafael Devers was supposed to be the guy that Boston was building around in the future, and now he's going to be a San Francisco Giant.
Right. All right, so as you look at the field, Bob Melvin right there, the manager now of soon-to-be Rafael Devers in uniform. It's 1-0 Los Angeles. We're in the second inning. Dominic Smith is the first baseman. Let's kind of break it down team by team because Devers was in Boston. They bring Bregman in. They then move him to third. The Giants have Matt Chapman. They just signed him to a long-term deal. He's hurt right now for likely a month, but he's the third baseman. Is that right, Jeff? Is that what you anticipate?
Yeah, unquestionably. Matt Chapman is a Gold Glove caliber third baseman, and he is going to be the long-term option there after signing a 6-year extension last year. Rafael Devers has two options at this point. Either he's going to move into the designated hitter role, which Wilmer Flores has played a majority of the time this year, or perhaps we see that transition to first base, though with Flores there and with Dominic Smith, the Giants have plenty of options.
Yeah, I see him in the DH role, and it almost had to do a double take. I'm like, you forget that the DH now exists in the National League, and people might forget that because I got a text from somebody, I'll remain nameless, like, how's he going to play? He can't play third. He's not going to play first. It's like there's no DH anymore in the National League. By the way, Shohei Ohtani is going to make his first start on today, I think. Is it today? I think so. For the Dodgers.
So we'll see today.
Yeah, first time in a while. Anyway, if we could scroll right underneath that, Angel, let's go back to ESPN Sunday Night Baseball last night, and here's how the crew initially reacted when the deal came down.
That's a big one, huh? I mean, that's a big one.
Out of nowhere, and it's so big. You had a starting pitcher for the Giants in Kyle Harrison that was already down in the bullpen, and he got jerked out of there and said, hey, you're not starting today. We're going to go plan B.
Lee on the ground, and that is going to be an easy one. And there is one down. Tommy Edman is the second baseman for the Dodgers. Maybe Luka Doncic, at least most recently, is like the most impactful kind of deal in the middle that immediately said, well, can they win an NBA championship now? Is it going to happen? And obviously it didn't happen in Los Angeles, but the way the Giants are playing, it certainly changes their forecast in the immediate future, doesn't it?
All I heard the entire year was the Giants, by June 15th, they should be a fourth-place team. They're one game out of first place, and now they acquire Rafael Devers to make their offense even that much better.
This is that's a big
now,
one, huh?
So initially, and I'm sure a lot of, even though Devers has been, and I don't like using that C word, the disease word about being a club because I think it's kind of disrespectful. But to say he's been a distraction would be an understatement. However, they are like 8-2 in their last 10. They just swept the Yankees. He hit a home run yesterday. I mean, this must have been really, really bad behind the scenes for this to happen like this. Now, the Red Sox are not getting off the hook here because the lack of communication that they've had since spring training and I was around it a little bit, watching games and just talking to people, talking to Lou Maloney, talking to broadcasters who were down here. There was no question. There is a complete disconnect. Alex Cora trying to back Rafael Devers. You didn't know what the hell was going on with ownership. You didn't know he was pissed that Bregman got brought in. All that stuff. Lack of communication all the way around from top to bottom. And I guess when John Henry, I got to find my tweet, when John Henry flew out there, when they were in Kansas City, you remember, and if I remember correctly, did not have a good series. Tom Carroll, who is also a writer-talker for WEI as well, and he said with a tweet, and does some ESPN stuff, I think, too, Devers had reached an impasse with the Red Sox, getting text messages from executives, other teams, been talking with the Red Sox. They basically are saying that after Devers did not respond following John Henry's getting on a plane and going out to Kansas City, he didn't take ground balls after that. The perception of the other teams was, yeah, he was gone. Red Sox are going to move him, and he didn't respond to the owner who was paying him that contract. Now, my understanding is, I know he was taking ground balls this last week, and it just must have been, as Sean McAdam pointed out, it's just like, just to kind of stay fresh and in the loop. But he was taking balls, I think, mostly at third base, at least taking balls, just in case for emergency. But this does not... and then Rob Bradford, my other buddy from WEI, says there are a ton of ways to view the Rafael Devers trade, but there's one undeniable fact: Red Sox fans should be angry. I'm sure a lot of them are angry. I was angry. I've settled down a little bit because I'm going back to Bill Sparrow's comments about these things have a way of working out. Now, overall, I don't like the trade. I don't. I think if you're the Red Sox, look, he's been a distraction, but you're playing, whatever it is, they're playing the best baseball lately. They're 8-2. He just came off a sweep of the Yankees. The Yankees hadn't been swept all year. So, big part of me says, suck it up and deal with it. You know, this is not the first time in sports that, quote unquote, I don't know, a personality, troublemaker, whatever you want to say, a distraction. If he's a distraction, they go 8-2 and sweep the Yankees. I don't care if he hit a solo shot. If he hits a solo shot and sits on the bench by himself, so be it. Suck it up. Are the Red Sox a better team now than they were yesterday? No. Not yet, anyway. I mean, the potential, again, I don't like the, I never like trades like this for the potential. Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, the kid out of Florida State, number 1 pick, number 16 overall, the kid James Tibbs III, no relation to Thurston Howell III, but James Tibbs III, maybe ends up being the second coming of Babe Ruth. Who the hell knows? And rookie league right-hander Jose Bayo. Now, I'm just telling you, right now the Red Sox are not a better team than they were yesterday. Is this going to galvanize the team even more? They're like, whew. Well, and then Bregman and Breo come back. Much easier for Alex Cora to manage this while you're trying to get the Roman Anthonys of the world into the lineup every day, and Marcelo Mayer and Christian Campbell. You want to keep getting those guys in as often as possible. I know Campbell's off to not a great start, but, Dustin Pedroia wasn't either back in the day as well. But nevertheless, it makes it easier for Alex Cora now to try to mix and match with some of these lineups. However, that does not mean you have made the Red Sox better. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I still don't know how. I don't like the trade. I can tell you that. I don't like it. I don't think it makes the Red Sox better right now. A big part of me understands why they did it, especially if there was some sort of... but you're letting Rafael Devers, who's not a 10-5 guy, so he cannot dictate. He doesn't have a no-trade clause. He's not a 10-5 guy yet. So he doesn't have that kind of authority. And was this the Red Sox, John Henry ego? Because he didn't feel Rafael Devers responded to his comments back in Kansas City. I don't know. He's hitting the ball pretty well. Whatever it is in his head, at least what we have seen the last month or so, he's been pretty good. He's been all-star caliber. There's just no question about it. He and Garrett Crochet... and Chapman, those would be your 3 all-stars right now for the Red Sox. There's no doubt about it that I think all 3 would make it. But forget all that. You know what? It was just, or again, not only was it ego with John Henry, was it just about a salary dump? Which is just about, well, I don't want to pay this. This was a dumb contract. We're going to let San Fran eat the $250 million. If that's the case, it makes them look even more stupid, you know, for not signing Mookie Betts back in the day. And then what are you going to do with that $250 million? Now what are you going to do with it? Where's that going to go? You know, how are you going to make this team better along the way? I just, I have mixed emotions. I said I don't like the deal. Part of me, the fanboy part of me is saying, well, okay, well, maybe when Bregman and Abreu do come back, between the both of them, how much offense are they going to miss if both of those guys are back in the lineup? But if both of those guys back in the lineup, then Mayer and Roman Anthony's going to play the majority. But Mayer and Christian Kiel, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting challenge for Alex Cora here. I just know on the surface, I don't like the deal. It looks like a salary dump to me. And unless it was so, I mean, was it really that horrible behind the scenes? The flight didn't take off. They took him off the plane. I saw the video of him getting back in the cabin and getting back to Fenway Park to get his stuff so he could fly back to San Francisco. I mean, he was on the plane. They took him off the plane. How do you find out about that on the plane? How does that happen? How do you get out of the club? It's another bad look for the Red Sox as far as communication goes. Stupid. Honestly. It's bad. And by the way, I'm going to try to get, I'm on the Red Sox media list. So there is a Zoom call, although they did not say what time. And I'm going to assume it's going to be before noontime today, a Zoom call with Craig Breslow, the GM, and with Sam Kennedy. So I am going to do my best to try to get on that Zoom call later on after the show. And we'll see what happens. All right, here's Sirius XM MLB Network radio personality Steve Phillips, former GM, on the reported deal sending Rafi to San Fran.
Well, I certainly understand why Craig Breslow, chief baseball officer for the Red Sox, made this deal. I would have done the same thing. I would have made a trade. Now, did he get enough back in return? That remains to be seen. But certainly the financial flexibility for the Red Sox, both short-term and long-term, could allow them to consider trades with players that have big contracts or to go out in free agency next offseason. But as we stand today, their offense is less, much less. Even though it frees up some at-bats for Roman Anthony to get more playing time and not have to go back to the minor leagues, they can't replace Devers' bat in that lineup. They get Jordan Hicks, a serviceable pitcher that can start or relieve, and they get Kyle Harrison, an exciting young left-handed pitching prospect who's got terrific stuff. And so I think certainly from that perspective, the two prospects also in return for Boston. For the long term, I think they're going to be better served. But short term, I don't think it gives them a better chance to get to the playoffs this year. From the Giants' perspective, they needed offense. They get a big bat. How they manage Devers will be interesting. Will they put him in a position to be a bad teammate there as well? Remains to be seen. Will they ask him to play first base? Will they ask him to fill in to play third right now when Matt Chapman is out? It'll be interesting to see what Buster Posey and the Giants do with Devers. But in the short term, the Giants certainly get a better offensive player to impact their team. And from the Red Sox perspective, they may have better team chemistry. But the question is, will they be a better team?
Yeah, that is a big question, and I do not know. Only time will tell with the deal. I don't think they're a better team right now. I think on the surface, fans are pissed. They look at it as a salary dump. The miscommunication, lack thereof, keeps going on and on and on. And it's too bad John Henry's not going to be part of this Zoom conference today. Again, I think it's kind of cowardly that he's not. You know, stick your Sam Kennedy, the president, and Craig Breslow, the GM, out there. This is the kind of deal where I think the owner needs to be there and tell everybody the truth. If they don't tell everybody the behind-the-scenes stuff, which you may not think, it's going to come out, and it's going to come out nasty. And a lot of times when this happens, particularly in Boston, when they send people away in any sport, the shit starts to hit the fan, and it's hard to believe what is true and what is not true. Now, I think there's a complete disconnect with this organization and Devers. There's no doubt about it. But it started at the top. It started in March here in Fort Myers, and now it has snowballed into Boston, and now to San Francisco. Unbelievable stuff. Here's Jim Duquette, also on Sirius XM MLB Radio, talking about the deal.
The 2025 trade deadline is kicked off with a bang. blockbuster trade between the Boston Red Sox and San Francisco Giants. Giants acquire the star in this player in this trade, Rafael Devers, former third baseman, now DH for the Red Sox. His OPS is over 900, 14 home runs. He's been a huge offensive weapon for the Red Sox over the years. He's in the middle of his prime and immediately upgrades the Giants' offense that has struggled to this point. They give up some pitching, which is a strength of theirs. Pitchers Kyle Harrison, a left-handed starter who's only had a year of service time, has 5 years of service left. The Red Sox will acquire him, put him right into the rotation. And Jordan Hicks, who has struggled as a starter, was recently moved to the bullpen. His contract, 4 years, $44 million, is in the second year of that deal. But the major player in this one is Devers going on to the Giants. There's more details to come on this, but this is a blockbuster trade in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it is official. And somebody put out what they considered to be the new lineup when everybody's healthy. Leading off would be left field or DHing Duran, then Bregman at batting second and third. Left fielder DH Roman Anthony, Navarro as a catcher who the Red Sox stole from the Yankees, and they must be killing themselves. He was unbelievable against them this weekend, offensively and defensively. Then Marcelo Mayer batting fifth and playing shortstop. Weiler Braille in right field. Story at second base. Christian Campbell at first base batting eighth, and Cedeno Rafael in center field batting ninth. The Christian Campbell thing, the experiment at first base, from my understanding is not going to happen, but I don't know. I can't. It's hard to, without being around the team every day, it's hard to really say exactly for sure what they are trying to do. But never an interesting lineup. Nevertheless, if we could, Angel, just refresh on my Twitter and scroll down. Jerry Thornton via Channel 5 in Boston captures Rafi Devers coming back to Fenway to get his stuff after they took him off the plane. Found out about the trade that way, reportedly. Here's how it looked.
Rafi, can you say anything to the fans? Rafi, anything to the fans? Are you going to sit outside, Mike? Yeah, okay. Rafi,
As if he's going to stop. Rafi, stop! Where are you going, Rafi? Stop! Oh, my goodness. All right, Angel, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will get your thoughts on all of this. I'd love to hear from all the Red Sox Nation today, 727-858-6650. I actually thought about coming on last night for an hour because the local stations in Boston were running national shows, and they contractually obligated EEI to run Sunday Night Baseball. But I know Sports Hub got somebody to do an emergency show from 8 to 10 for this, and rightly so. It's the right move. And if I were EEI, I don't know if they got a chance to do it. I would have kicked off the other stations. They could have thrown the baseball game on and done a local. I actually thought about it last night, but I didn't want to bother you on the weekend. And I probably could have gone and done it myself, but it wouldn't have been the same without you, Angel. Just in case with all the shit going on. Joe says, morning, guys. Red Sox won't miss Devers. He was a cancer. I don't like using that word, but he was a cancer to the clubhouse and not a clutch player. We'll have to find a way to fill the DH spot. Well, filling the DH spot, Joe, is easy. There's a bunch of guys that can do that. It certainly wasn't the disease you described lately because they went 8-2. They just swept the Yankees, and he's got a 990 OPS. So, I mean, I think the whole team is hitting in the clutch a hell of a lot better. Yeah, he was part of it earlier on, but this team is not better right now, Joe, without him. They're not. They're not. You can say what you want. He hit a home run yesterday. This is the kind of guy that they lied to you and they lied to me, saying they were going to build around after they traded Mookie Betts, and now it looks like it looks on the surface bad for the Red Sox again. It looks like a salary dump, and we don't know who they got back in return, except for Harris, who can immediately, make an impact on this team, good or bad, can make an impact. The rest of them, we don't know about it. But as far as them being a better team today than they were yesterday, no way. Absolutely no way. But we'll see. Bill Sparrows may be right from the Boston Herald. These things have a way of working themselves out. So we'll see with Abreu and Bregman when they come back, how this is going to be handled. All right, quick break. We'll talk more about this when we come back, and also show you the incredible finish and talk about that at the U.S. Open yesterday at Oakmont, the soggy U.S. Open. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show. Greg Dickerson coming up at 8:05 today here on the Pete Sheppard Show. We'll break a whole bunch of stuff down when we come back here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastow, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella.
The Pete Sheppard Show.
I still call
it's
her Mom.
fun for the...
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
The loveliness of Paris seems somehow sadly gay. The glory that was Rome is of another day. I've been terribly alone and forgotten in Manhattan. I'm going home to my city by the bay.
Everybody.
I left my heart
And Rafi.
in San Francisco. High on a hill.
Not the pitcher's mound. The other hill.
It calls to me.
Not third base, but DH.
To be where little cable car.
Rafi on the cable car.
Climb halfway to the stars.
That's where his home runs will be. Halfway to the stars.
The morning fog may chill the air.
Rafi, we hardly knew you.
I don't care.
Hardly
My
knew you.
love waits there.
Rafi Devers
in San Francisco.
Don't you feel better now?
Sure do. Above the blue.
Rafi's playing that on the plane right now. Well, they'll be on the line. It's going to be the Red Sox part of the road trip as they play San Francisco. A little more. Oh, the best.
San Francisco.
If he ever got off the plane singing this song, that even in Spanish would be the ultimate best.
Your golden sun.
Big finish. Oh, thank you very much. The one and only Tony Bennett. One of the classics of all time. Angel, if I may indulge upon you to please sing I left my heart in San Francisco. Just say I left my heart in San Francisco. Can you do that in Spanish real quick?
Sure. It all sounds horrible. I can't sing it.
But how would in Spanish, how would it be interpreted? So you're Rafi, you're coming off the plane, you're singing Tony Bennett, but in Spanish.
Yeah. Yo dejé mi corazón en San Francisco. You know what the bad part is, though? As much stuff is going on in California, you wonder if ICE will see him like, sure, you're Ralphie Devers, right? Get in the car there, amigo. We got a place to go.
You had to go there. Oh my God! Hey, they kicked him off the plane in Boston to get traded. I mean, that's how everybody found out, I believe. And I'm going to try to get a hold of Lou to have on tomorrow. So the broadcast crew was on the plane, And so Lou Merlone and Dave O'Brien and others are on the plane. And basically, they all found out about it on the plane before they took off. They took him off the plane, put him in a cab, went back to Fenway or an Uber, back to Fenway, and the rest is history. He is gone.
Is that the worst way to kind of find out, Peter? I wonder if there's a top 10 worst ways that you find out you got traded.
Well, through the media, which has happened before.
Yeah, because who else was? Someone was looking at their Instagram and they got traded. Oh, I know Antonio Brown was, but that was a whole different situation. But there was somebody else too that had no idea, and then they saw it on either Instagram or something else.
It happens in sports a lot. It happens in sports, unfortunately, a lot. Where no, not every time, but I mean, it's happened enough times in all the major sports where you might find out through the media or somebody else's agent or whatever. Is what it is. This was not handled correctly from the get-go by the Red Sox, and certainly Rafael Devers has some blame in some of this as well for his moodiness and poutiness and all that stuff. But the lack of communication by the Red Sox and what looks like a salary dump here, it's not a good look for the Red Sox. It just doesn't look good, especially them sweeping the Yankees and pulling within a half game of the wild card. So, and it takes away. I mean, they played great this weekend. They played their best ball of the season in these 3 games. They really did. Clutch hitting, unbelievable pitching. Bayo yesterday, 7 innings of 3-hit ball and 8 strikeouts. Bernardino came in, gave up no earned runs, even though a couple of hits. And Whitlock came in, pitched an inning in 2/3, struck out 2, no walks. So, I mean, things are, the proverbial light seemed to be happening here at the end of the tunnel. And the big question is, should they have just sucked it up because they're 8-2 in their last 10? They just swept the Yankees. They're playing the best ball of the year. I don't know. It didn't seem to me like Rafi Devers right now was too much of a distraction. Of course, that could change. Jerry says, good morning, Pete. The best thing will be when they go to the Giants. Yeah, Rafi is playing first base. Well, he might be playing first base or he might be DHing. But sure as hell, no way he's playing third base. I mean, Chapman is a Gold Glover. I know he's hurt right now. Hey, maybe, I mean, if he's still not back when they get back to San Francisco, who knows? Maybe they stick Devers at third. Now, wouldn't that be something? They stick Devers at third base for the Red Sox series. He looks like Brooks Robinson, right out, just crazy stuff.
Yep.
Makes all these plays that he never made with the Red Sox and hits 4 home runs against them. Who knows? But he's going to be jacked and pumped. That's coming up. That'll be coming up at the end of the week. It goes Seattle, Los Angeles Angels, and I think San Fran after that. It's their longest road trip of the year. Go ahead, Angel. What?
No, I agreed.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to switch from baseball real quick here to golf. If we could scroll down, Angel. JJ Spawn, the video to win the U.S. Open. This is on. Now, he had birdied 17, taken the lead by 1 stroke at even par. He was at even par. There were a few guys at +1 until he made this putt. It's on 18 to clinch it. 64.5 feet. Holy cow.
Want to cozy it up. Don't need to make it. 2 putts. Cozy it up.
Just amazing. 64.5 feet through the rain. He just squeegeed off the course again for like the 3rd time yesterday, and he survived a terrible start, challenging elements, pulled away from the pack, captured his first major. The kid out of Los Angeles, well, he's not a kid. He's 38 years old, but 20 years younger than me. You're a kid, I guess. Out of San Diego State, J.J. Spawn. Birdying the 17th to take the 1-stroke lead, then the 64.5-foot putt right there secured a victory over Scotland's Robert McIntyre by 2 shots. Absolutely unbelievable. And, while this was going on, let me get to check the final scores. So while J.J. Spahn was there, so Robert McIntyre finished at +1. Victor Hovland was 2 over. Cameron Young was 3 over. And Tyrrell Hatton was also at 3 over. And you never knew what was going to happen, during the game, during the clinching putt. They were interviewing, NBC, I think it was interviewing, who was it? It might have been, Tyrrell Hatton was being interviewed at the time. Now listen to his reaction, and then listen closely in the background by somebody else in the room. Oh, hang on, that's me. That's me. My bad.
You have to listen very, very closely.
Yes.
I sat in dining. Please hold it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Unbelievable. What a putt to win. That's incredible.
Now listen to the background again.
I sat in dining. Please hold it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. It's funny when Scottish people swear. It's just, I don't know. It's just a little flair there. But what an unbelievable finish for J.J. Spahn. Wins his first major title. It really was something else on that course. And then I hear some national people like, I don't like it when the course wins over the players. Screw that. 1 or 2 tournaments out of the year, when par really means something, I think it's extra special. You throw in the elements. I loved it yesterday. I loved it. I wish the rain delays didn't occur, but there was plenty of other stuff to watch yesterday. But an amazing finish for J.J. Spahn. I love it when par means something. The leader was -4 at the end of the first round, and people were saying, well, geez, they're 4 under after, they do averages. Like, they're going to finish up 16 under. This course is such a tough. No. It's never that way. It's never that way. And I'll tell you what, that's as tough a course as you will find on its own. And I remember it, I think in 94, they showed it from 94. I think they had it, the Open was there in 2008. And then again, this past year where they really groomed it. We showed you the video last week. Just absolutely crazy how difficult they made this course, especially if you missed the fairway. It was brutal, absolutely brutal to recover. So J.J. Spahn, all the elements were there for everybody else. He wins a cool $4.3 million, gained 750 FedEx points for that win, and a whole bunch of accolades. And the only golfer to finish 1 under par. In that. As I said, Robert McIntyre was a second at +1. He wins $2.322 million. And Victor Hovland at $1.462 million, all alone in third place. And then you had Cameron Young and Tyrrell Hatton, who you just heard from, at 3 over. Also, Carlos Ortiz. John Rahm at 4 over. Scotty Scheffler 4 over. A bunch of others as well. So congratulations to J.J. Spahn out of San Diego State. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. We do have an... Go ahead.
You may know this question because, again, you play golf more, but because Oakmont being the way they set it up and how they take care of those grounds. So would you pay more if you're, obviously not, I'm not talking about the tournament itself, but as a civilian, would you pay more at that club because of the way the fairways are done, or is it basically just depending on where you are, where you play?
I don't know if it's open to the public at times. Like I know Pebble Beach is open to the public, and it used to be one of the best deals ever. About 15 years ago, it was like $300, $350 to play the course. Now it's up to $500, which I still think is a good deal, and I think that includes golf cart. I think. But you can play something. I'm not sure if you can play Oakmont public can play there, Angel. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I know certain places where the U.S. Open has been held, you can, and Pebble Beach is one of them. You can play there for the most part. It just, costs you $500, but it's a once in a lifetime. I almost had an opportunity to play that in 2002 when I was out there covering the Super Bowl. We were doing shows out there, Tampa Bay and the Raiders and all that stuff. But it just wasn't enough. Our show, we couldn't because we were on 3 hours earlier, West Coast time than normal. Instead of being on, 2 to 6, we were on 10 to 3.
Right.
So we didn't get a chance to get out there because we would have had to play it around noontime. And sure, we would not. Management was not going to send us out there for the Super Bowl doing 4-hour shows to go play golf. That was for damn sure. Anyway, but you never know. Someday I'd like to get out there and play that course. I had friends of mine that played it and love it. I'd kill to play 18. The 18th hole at Pebble Beach is just one of my favorite holes in the world. It's got the ocean on the left, and you got to hit the big drive and stay to the right or just stay and play. And a lot of guys go for it. It's a par 5. A lot of guys go for it in 2. But this course at Oakmont, again, not sure if you can play it publicly, but the tremendous golf course. And I think they did an amazing job just to keep play going because it was raining beyond cats and dogs through most of the weekend. And yesterday was brutal, like 3 stops. And I couldn't believe they finished it. I was going to say, I was looking forward to watching it this morning after the show, the final round, but they got it in. And what a finish. And that last putt by J.J. Spahn, some condensation, obviously still on the green, a 64.5-foot putt to clinch it easily. People thought he was going to bogey. There were a lot of people that thought he was going to bogey and there was going to be a playoff, but nope, he clinched it. He needed the 2-putt there. He 1-putted. And he could have easily come up short. A lot of guys might have come up short in that situation and then missed that putt for par and then finished with a bogey, and it would have been a playoff. But I give him all the credit in the world for that. All right. Tonight, the Indiana Pacers are at Oklahoma City. It's a pivotal Game 5 of the NBA Finals. I just don't. There's no buzz for this. I think it's been pretty decent series so far, but there just is not a buzz at all, as predicted. The ratings are way down for this. I think a big part of it is because people are sick of ESPN and them. It's just such a horrible pregame show, halftime show, and postgame show that's on ESPN. It's terrible. You got to go to NBA TV after the game to get any type of real analysis. And then, let me see, Angel, if we could scroll down. Let's see. I want to make sure. You have to scroll down a bit because I want to make sure that. Oh, I thought I had the. Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah. And it's under Brad Marchand again. And it's Stephen A. Smith in Indiana playing solitaire on his phone, claiming it was during a timeout. I don't care. Maybe this isn't a people overblowing. It's just a bad look for a guy that makes $20 million. It's right under that. That's it. This, in case you missed it, here's Stephen A. Smith in Indiana at the Fieldhouse, talking at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, playing solitaire during the game on his phone. This is ridiculous. It's a bad look. Horrible look. Yeah, video. It's funny because the other day, Molly Quim tried to tell him to turn off his cell phone or hide it and his computer because people on First Take were zooming in on his phone. And he wouldn't shut it off. It was just, he's just such a pompous ass. It comes up looking so. That's why his takes, even in the NBA, are horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. They're not, for someone who makes $20 million a year, his takes on the NBA, forget the other sports, are just not that good. He thinks he is the be-all, end-all of NBA. You heard what he said about Tyrese Halliburton yesterday. We play on Friday. Yeah. We played the cut. I'm going to be around. I'm going to be around. They don't pay me to talk to you. They pay me to talk about you. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. All right. Let's see. Another guy's take. My take on Devers trade is you're just not going to get a ton in return for 11 years of a guy who's already a DH. Eldridge was never going to be in this deal with the Giants taking the whole contract. Devers is great now. But what does I don't care. When people do this all the time about trades, I want to win now. I want to win now. I have an opportunity to win now. I don't give a shit 5 or 6 years down the road. That's not my problem. with any trade in sports is when people do this and they say, "Oh, what's the overall? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in 4 years, 5 years, 8 years?" Who gives a shit? What is going to happen this year? They became a worse team today because he's not on the team. All those little quirks and picadillos aside, they're a worse team right now. Suck it up and deal with it. Unless it was so really over the top horrible, which I really find hard to believe. Because he wasn't a distraction. Certainly hadn't been a distraction this last month. He's been hitting the ball like crazy, 990 OPS. Hit a home run yesterday. He's going to be on the All-Star team, whether he's going to be on the All-Star team in the National League. So I don't know. It just, to me, is absolutely ridiculous. All right. I was going to take a quick break, but maybe we won't because I see him trying to log on. Our buddy Greg Dickerson trying to log on right now. So we'll just keep it here. We'll just keep it here. As I said, we're just my favorite song of the day. Rafael Devers. We hardly knew you.
The loveliness of Paris.
There he goes. Off to San Francisco and not to San Francisco, but close enough from Massachusetts. It's my good friend Greg Dickerson joining us here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Greg, good morning, my buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Pete. How are you? Did I do this right?
You did it right. You're looking happy and handsome. I can hear it and I can see you. You look great.
I'm just so friggin' technologically advanced.
Well, you always have been. You were ahead of the curve.
Oh yeah. I did. Just finally got rid of my my BlackBerry 6 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm right on top of things.
You don't have one of those flip phones from old 24 episodes anymore, anything like that?
Oh, those are the coolest things. I used to love those. Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
They have better range than the phones that we have now. People don't understand that.
They might. I just thought that they were really cool because you could just do cool stuff with them, and you can hang up on somebody well, and it's just neat to flip it up. It's
like Star Trek, Anyway, man. So how are things with you? It's been way too long, buddy. It's been way too long. And
I know things are great. I'm just up here in Massachusetts, coaching high school baseball, and not watching games for fun, not having to watch them for work anymore.
Well, yeah, that's too bad. I've always said, I always thought, we don't have to get into it just because there's other stuff I want to talk to you about that's going on, not just in New England, but in the broadcasting industry as well. We'll get to Stephen A. and his solitaire game in a minute, but no, I really missed you. It's not that Abby doesn't.
I appreciate it.
But I mean, you were the best sideline guy. One of the best. First of all, people don't realize you were the PA announcer for the side while working while broadcasting. But your little side gig, where you got free parking, I think. Or did you tell me?
Oh yeah. Oh, I got free parking. Oh yeah.
You got free parking.
That was a big deal.
You were the PA announcer.
I got to park with the players park. So I would drive in and I would drive out of the parking lot, and there would be a Range Rover, high-end Mercedes. What's that Mercedes car? I can't think of the name of it, but there'd be all these $120,000-$150,000 cars, and then I'd be putting out of there in my little crap box car. It was always kind of funny. People would be looking, going, "Who is it? Is it KG? Is it Pierce? No. I think it's Ron." Oh no,
it's just Dickerson. Yeah, coming in. But I was thinking, not that I forget his name who does it now. Who does a great job. But man, can you imagine?
Eddie Palladino. Don't you dare say a bad thing about Eddie. Eddie's great. I love Eddie. He's terrific at it.
Just the opposite. But I would want to hear. Maybe you'll do it for me. Give me a Jason Tatum 4-3. How would Greg Dickerson do that? I mean, they said 4-3. I know a gazillion times this year. How would you do that if you were still the PA?
I'd probably do it just the same as I did it for Antoine Walker 4-3. It would be Jason Tatum 4-3. We all rip each other off. That's what we do. I mean, I ripped off the guy from Detroit, Mason, and Eddie takes a little bit of me, and I'd rip off a guy from Portland. We all stole from each other.
Let me ask you, just doing that and the background noise, and I call it noise. And the Celtics never used to do it. They still don't do it as much. But
Oh, you old man, you
no, no,
that's
no,
too loud. Why are they
no, no.
playing music?
I don't mind. I
I
don't
just wanna hear the squeak of the shoes.
I don't mind music. Just stop it at half court. I thought that was sort of the rule that was put in. It's too. It's. I don't know. Sometimes you can't hear yourself think. I don't know how it was for you, but I mean, the Celtics used to
I, I, I kind of liked it because it kept me gainfully employed. So I'm like, okay, they want to do all this crap. I'm all for it. But at some point at some point in time, you are right. There was this rude, unwritten rule or code where they said, okay, once the ball goes over half court or once a team is in its offensive set, things kind of shut down, and then just all of a sudden, each team or every team would just try and go a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and before you know it, there was stuff
And
blaring as guys were taking
Sure.
shots, and it was just there were no rules. Unlike the NFL you have to be done and complete when a team
Yeah.
has broken the huddle and
Yeah.
is ready to snap the ball. They're very particular about their rules in the NFL.
Well, Orlando's the worst, and they always have been and always will be, despite the little
Well,
trade.
they're the ones who started it, Pete. They're the
Oh,
ones. It was, and I can't think of the guy's. Paul Porter, I think was his name. He was the first big time announcer, and they play all the music. They were the ones who got it started.
All right, if this deal had gone down, back in our day, and we were running a national show like on EI was carrying the baseball, whatever it was. I know Sports Hub last night did an emergency 8 to 10. I actually thought about coming on myself, but this is huge news. I was outraged by it. Then, I mean, obviously shocked. Everybody was shocked, not necessarily chagrined. I was a little outraged by it, and I started thinking three-dimensionally instead of two-dimensionally. Don't think like a fan. Think like this whole organization has been a clusterfuck. And I live in Fort Myers, as you know. I've witnessed this from the start, from the beginning of March. Been there more than several times. Talked to Lou Literally, not only in this show and other people. The lack of communication in this organization from John Henry, Sam Kennedy, Breslow, Alex Cora. This whole thing was so, as Michael Corleone said, frightfully botched from the beginning. And the bottom line is, Greg, and I've seen some of your comments, but is this team better off today than they were yesterday? No, not right now anyway. That's how I feel about it.
Well, Pete, and I would understand sometimes you have to make deals that make you better for 6 months from now or a year or 2 years. You do that. And sometimes teams have to work it out that way or have to go about it that way when they make deals. But this isn't the case with this team. They're not better now. And based on what they got in return, I don't see them being better in a year or 2 years. And please save the bullshit for any fan out there. And I've seen plenty of them. You know what I love, Pete? I love the fans that I've seen on Twitter over the last 14 hours who say, "Oh well, remember what did you think of the Nomar deal back in '04? I bet you hated the Nomar deal. They won the world." Please stop it with that. It's a very different organization now than it was in 2004. uh, Based on what this team and this ownership and this management has done over the course of 5 years, they've lost that. They don't have that right for us to think about that or give them potential credit anymore. I look at this deal and I say, okay, there are a lot of people who say, well, what are they going to do with the $250 million? Boy, you have to be a sucker, a complete sucker, if you think they're going to go out there and all of a sudden start firing money out there and trading for guys with big. No, they're not. They're going to pocket it. You know what they may do? They may spend 70 million of it, but they ain't spending 250. No chance.
Well, how the perception is, there've been a lot of fans. Is this? There's a lot of ways to look at this onion. A lot of layers. One is just comes off as a salary dump. They just don't give a shit. the Red Sox are going to spin it like the relationship was just so bad, especially after John Henry went to Kansas City, and apparently, according to some, Chris Castillo won on Mass Live, who I love and works with Sean McAdam. That the relationship was unrepairable. On the other hand, they're just coming off a sweep of the Yankees. They're playing the best baseball of the year. He hits a home run yesterday. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're a half game behind Seattle for the wild card spot. The other part of me says, just suck it up and deal with it. Unless it was so fucking horrible, Greg, behind the scenes. And, maybe the Red Sox are going to start leaking stories, which happens, just to make themselves look good.
Hey, cue Bob Holler. Bob Holler will be writing that piece anytime now. He'll be trashing Rafael Devers. It's in Wednesday's Globe or maybe Thursdays at the latest.
Yeah, the Ben Volen of baseball. Just unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, I think things were incredibly not just dysfunctional with the player, but I think things were so horrible on both sides. And listen, I want to sit here and just crap all over Rafael Devers because I think he deserves it. He came into camp out of shape. He took forever to get ready and to get his at bats and get back into the lineup. He's refusing to go here. He's refusing to go there. He's pissing and moaning about this and that. But then I look at some of the things that he supposedly has said based on some of the stories that have come out the last couple of hours that he didn't trust the organization. He was upset. They would tell him one thing and then do another. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's kind of right. I mean, this management, this organization set themselves up for this. It's beyond amazing to me that this ownership and this management can just be so dysfunctional and incompetent at the same time. Because there are everything that they have touched basically has shown me how incompetent that they are. I said this on Twitter last night. The organization the last 3 years has made the Patriots of the last 3 years look like the Patriots of '02 through '05. I mean, it's just, and that's with a pretty good offseason too, with Crochet and bringing in Bregman. But pretty much everything else that they do is a cluster bleep.
And I'm not ready to go down. Is this going to be a blessing in disguise? I had Bill Sparrows on from the Boston Herald every Wednesday at 8:30, and we were talking about. I was like, well, my biggest concern was last Wednesday with Bill was how is Alex Bregman, who I've just lost a whole bunch of faith. Not Alex Bregman, Alex Cora lost
Cora, yeah,
lost a whole bunch of faith in him. But how is he going to handle the fact with the three kids and when Bregman and Abreu come back? How he's going to handle mixing and matching stuff. And Bill had a great, profound answer. He was like, you know what? These things have a way of working out. Well, yeah, I guess they kind of do. And I guess he can mix and match. And if things go absolutely, great with Bregman and Abreu coming back, two pretty good offensive guys. Can they make up? Can two guys like that and you mix and match in the lineup with all the kids? Can you continue on this pace? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But some interesting decisions about lineups are going to be coming Alex Cora's way over the next for the rest of the season, and I can't wait.
Hey, Pete, here's my simple question to you.
Yeah.
Do you trust this management, this ownership, and this manager to make the right decisions and push the right buttons? I sure as hell don't.
I don't.
I don't know how anybody can.
I don't know. Maybe I go back to Major League, the movie. Although the manager was pretty competent then, even though he was selling tires and just.
Well, have him start hitting ground balls to Bregman at third, call him Doran, get them all bruised up.
But maybe the players just band together and they overcome, adjust, and adapt despite Alex Cora and despite managers say, "Fuck it, let's just get it together." I mean, if they play like this against the Yankees and they play like they have the last 10. By the way, Devers is like 143 in his last 7 games. The last week. However, after the John Henry meeting, Devers is hitting 290 with 8 home runs, 7 doubles, 32 RBIs, and a 965 OPS in 33 games since Henry KC meeting. So they can't do that either. The Red Sox can't throw that at them either. They can't do that. They can't throw that at Devers either because the numbers have been spectacular.
Hey, that's all on John Henry. If you can't get motivated by John Henry giving you a speech, I don't know how you could ever get motivated. I mean, that guy is all just blood and guts all the time. Will we ever hear him speak again? Will he ever sit down somewhere, anywhere besides a computer and return emails to Alex Spear? Will he ever sit in front of 20 media people? I'm not so sure he will.
No, I'm not. It's kind of cowardly. And then he had that little get together with some of the media down here in Fort Myers. Only a select few were allowed, and which I thought was really lame. Yeah, 1 second here.
Yeah, but that's him, and it's amazing to me how this guy went from easily one of the best owners. Forget about in the city, forget about in baseball, but in all of sports, he was one of the best owners that we've seen anywhere in sports in a long time. And it's just like he flipped the switch and just all of a sudden says, I just don't care anymore. And he doesn't. Nobody can tell me anything different. He doesn't give a crap about winning now, about the fans, or his franchise. He cares about one thing, that's pocketing some cash and finding the next venture that he can go out and buy or spend on. He doesn't care about this organization like he did 10 years ago. That's a sell it, send it to somebody else. I just don't understand. How does one human being like to walk around their own city and just be hated by everybody, disliked by everybody? How can he do that? Then don't you want to walk around and don't want to be liked by people? We all do. We all have this inner feeling that, okay, we want people to like us. Not everybody's going to like us, but we try to get people to like us.
Yeah,
nobody likes the guy.
You were very
and he seems to thrive on that.
You were close to Celtics ownership. I don't think Wick Prospect would ever be walking on the street and go, Wick, you suck. I mean, that would never happen.
No, because you know what, Pete? It probably means as much to him as anything for Wick to be liked and to be, on the front page of the newspapers and TV shows. Wick wants that. Wick loves and craves the spotlight, but he wants to be loved. He wants to be liked.
No question about it. Now, the other part, I mean, when deals like this happen, we don't know the attitude of the entire team. I'm hoping during some pregame. Oh, by the way, there's a Zoom call at some point today, which I'm hoping to be a part of, with Craig Bledsoe and with Sam Kennedy. And I'm sure the spin is going to be just worth listening to. Oh, we just lost Greg. Greg, we just lost you. If you could rejoin us, that would be great. All right, Greg Dickerson, longtime broadcaster, Celtics sideline reporter, Celtics PA announcer. I'll text him to reconnect. I'm sure he will. All of a sudden, that looked like a call waiting thing, Angel.
Yeah, I think so. He may have had a call coming through because I do believe he was on a cell phone, so he may have had a call come through. And unfortunately, when you're on your cell phone, you come in live, the phone call takes priority. So hopefully he'll come back. But it was going really good.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a guy that should still be in this business. He's really, really talented. Let's see if it comes. I just texted him. I was like, just try to reconnect. There he is, just like that.
Pete,
was that
Pete? If you don't like what I'm doing, if you don't like being on the show, have the balls to just say, "Hey, Greg, it's not working out. Thanks for taking the time. Good luck with everything." You just hang up on me? Is that the way it is now?
No, that certainly was not on our end. Did you get call waiting? That happens a lot when people are on the phones on this show.
No, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. I have Xfinity. It's supposed to be booming. It's supposed to be great internet. I don't know what's going on.
Well, no, it's so far. Well, you sound great. And you look great, and but
oh God, no, Pete. No, I look like shit. Well, it's okay though. It's all right. I'm 53 years old. It's all right. I'm not back in my beautiful days. Back in my 30s.
On the show,
back then I was trying to keep up with Tangway, and it was just a battle that was never ending. So I was always trying to look as good as Gary.
You and Tangway, and I would fill in for you sometimes. I would work at EEI,
Yes.
then fill in for you guys at 1440 in Worcester. You and Gary Tangway. How's Gary doing, by the way?
I don't have any idea. I
Jeez.
don't know. I haven't talked to him in about 7 or 8 years.
Really?
He's big into. I don't know if you know. He's a big Hollywood guy now, writing
Oh,
screenplays. He's done some plays locally here. He's done like I think every
gone.
movie that is filmed in Boston over the last 10 years. He's played a part in. So he's
Yeah,
gone Hollywood.
great. Great. But anyway, you need to get back into this business, and I want to have you on at least for a start on this show a lot more often because you've been
Anytime you
terrific.
want, Pete, I'm happy to do it.
Uh,
I like your background is much nicer to look at than mine is. So it just reminds me of the good old days being down at the Diamond Head Resort on Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, that's when I wasn't. If I was there, I can't remember the third time I was there. And yeah, you guys were. Yeah, Diamond Head. Yeah, great place. Still have a lot of
Yeah,
friends that work there. And finally, the beach is really. First of all, the water is spectacular now. It's back to, Caribbean blue.
that's
It
good.
looks really good. The dolphins are back. So are some sharks and some bears. But nevertheless, it's still a great place. And I hope you get. But I was right before we got cut off. And by the way, people on this show, Greg, have
Hey,
had.
can you see this by the way, Pete?
I can
Hold
see
on a
it.
second. Oh, I think it's. Oh, you see this cup right here? Where is it? Where's my camera? There it
There
is.
you go, right there. Yeah,
You
it's a
can't
great.
see it.
I can't. What's
You
it
know what
say?
this cup used to say?
No.
850 WEEI. But much like the station itself, things have worn off and faded away.
Well, bankruptcy will do that to terrestrial radio.
Mhm.
You
Giving the company to your kid and letting them screw it up, that'll happen.
But don't worry about you getting cut out. Let's see. Bill Burt was driving one time on the show and he almost got in an accident. That cut out. We've had Patrick Gilroy, who does a great job.
Yep.
He's been on. He's had a lightning hit and we got cut off. I don't know. Countless other crazy stuff has happened. But what I was going to say is, I'm hoping we get some insight from some of the players today in the pregame show, and especially from Lou Merlone, who's not afraid to talk about stuff that's going on in the locker room that's on the record. I want
Did
to
you see
know.
his tweets at all last night, Pete?
Yeah, well, they took him off the plane. I mean, they took Devers off the plane.
Right, but the way Lou was, I'm trying to remember the tweets. He was like, "Wow, this is nuts. Things are not good." And I was just waiting and waiting, and knowing Lou like I do, I'm like, "Oh, he wants to say something. He wants to go a little bit further." And I think Lou just kind of stopped himself. But I'm sure Lou saw plenty of things being said and going on that plane last night. Like, what the hell is happening here? And I'm sure he wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. The broadcast crew is traveling with the team, and you know about that 'cause you've done it. And you're sitting there, and all of a sudden they come on the plane. Nobody knows what's going on. They take Raffy off, and off to Fenway he goes in an Uber to get his stuff, and off to San Francisco. I mean, that had to be that's as bizarre situation as I've seen. But it's typical. I guess only the Red. Maybe I could see the Bruins doing something like that back in the day. But the Red Sox.
Back in the day, but I give the Bruins credit. The Bruins are pretty. They make bad moves, but I think that they function pretty well as an organization over the last 15 years. They spend money. They just they don't particularly draft well. But the Red Sox, I'm sure, and I hate just crapping all over somebody for the job that they do and trying to make it personal. Because I'm sure Sam Kennedy is just the sunshine of people's lives, and he's a wonderful human being. And I'd love to have a beer with him, but good God, the bullshit that he just continually spins and slings every time he's in front of a camera or a mic is vomit inducing.
It's
Part of me is kind of looking forward to it this morning to listen to him try and spin this whole thing. I don't know how he's going to do it, but based on the Sam Kennedy that I've seen over the last few years, he's going to try his damnedest this morning.
I used to do a weekly show with him back with Christian Arcan when we were at ESPN New Hampshire, in between my EEI stints, a couple of stints there. No, he's exactly what you said. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He's great, and unfortunately, he's a yes man, and he's got to He takes way too much crap because John Henry is too cowardly to get in front of a microphone. That's the problem. So it's just, and it's going to be interesting to see how he and Breslin handle, which I'm assuming going to be very difficult questions today. Is Nesson going to run it live?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, if you're Nesson, you're probably saying, we'll put this on a tape delay, and we'll run this later on. We'll chop it up a little bit, and we'll play certain segments later on the day. It wouldn't surprise. I mean, they absolutely should. Absolutely, they should. But it would not surprise me, knowing Pravda, that Nesson is, if they wait until 4 o'clock and they just play a couple of clips of it.
It's so
They'd probably
bad.
be smart to.
This business has gotten so bad. I used to, and there was one thing. It's gotten disgusting out there, the national media. At least when you and I were both at EI, if somebody fucked up or did something stupid, I'm talking about on-air hosts or whatever, we made fun of each other all the time. And usually it didn't become anything less than some bits being done. It didn't matter. We would address stuff. I got suspended for this, that, and the other thing, for drinking on the air one time, and even though I was helping a sponsor out, and that got overblown. And then
There we go. I didn't do it. I was helping a sponsor.
No, I
just trying to make the company money.
But you never want to end up on the inside track if you were at our radio.
No, I did. Oh God, no.
Oh, you did.
The hell with that, Pete. Yes, that was my dream back in the day. I wanted to be the inside track. But that means I made it. If I was doing the inside track, I made it.
Hey, I had the headline, WEI Yacker suspended for drinking or something, whatever it was. But anyway,
that's it. Nothing wrong with that. Look,
there's no bad publicity.
It didn't ruin your career, so it helped.
No. In fact, it enhanced it.
Right.
No, but it was a stupid thing on my part. But anyway, it wasn't that bad. Got over it. But I'm saying, look at the least we would address it, is what I'm saying. We would address it. You think Stephen A. Smith is going to address his solitaire game this morning, even though he lied about it on Twitter right away? And it's just a bad look. I'm sure it's an overblown type of thing, but this is the kind of shit I cannot stand. I can't stand Stephen. His response to Therese Halliburton the other day. I'm gonna be around. I'm gonna be around. I am not paid to talk to you. I'm paid to talk about you, and I've had many NBA players, far better resumes than yours. Come at me. I'm going to be here. You fucking pompous.
That's nicely done, Pete. That is well done.
Pompous.
I closed my eyes for a second, and I thought I was doing a hit with Stephen A. That was very good.
Doesn't it? And nobody, and then the rest of them at the table all giggle, and nobody to challenge and throw shit back in his face. It's so fucking bad.
Well, the problem with Stephen A. Smith, and I think Stephen A. is as good as anybody at what he does and what he gets paid for. My only issue is, listen, if I was making $20 million a year and they were following me in as I walked into an NBA game, my head would probably get like a beach ball too. But he just thinks he's this, that, and everything because of what he does and the money he makes. Stephen A. Smith thinks he's bigger than the sport that he covers or the player that he covers. No.
Yep.
People in the media, yes, they become stars, whether it's Stephen A., whether it's McAfee, whether it's, Big O back in the day, Felger now. They're never as big as the players that they cover. Some of them think that they are, but they're not. And that's my problem with Stephen A. Smith, is he thinks he's bigger than everybody else out there. And you just said it too, Pete. The best way to handle this and the best way to make this go away quickly is you laugh about it. You joke about it. You if you're just honest and you say, I was bored for a second, I was playing solitaire. Listen, you should see some of the other things that are on my phone that I'm looking at during a game. You make a joke out of it, and guess what? Gone, bye-bye, we moved on to the next thing. But unfortunately, Stephen A. Smith can't do that. He does not have a self-deprecating bone in his entire body. Stephen A. Smith thinks he's bigger than anything and everything else, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, as long as he's making $20 million a year.
Yeah, and then we had. I agree, and I'm wondering if somebody's going to address it. They don't have the balls to address it.
Oh no, they will. No, oh, absolutely. I don't think they can't. I think it's such a big story that I think that they can and they will, but they'll probably go about it in the absolute wrong way. They won't handle it well. They won't handle it the right way, and if anything, they may screw it up even more and make it a bigger story based on what they say. I mean, it's like the other day, Kendrick Perkins nailed it perfectly. I don't know if you saw this in Game 5. The guys dressed up as Dumb and Dumber at the Pacers Oklahoma City game, and ESPN was so obviously not showing it on cam and not addressing it. And Perk's like, why didn't we show it more? We should have showed it more. We should have talked about it. We should have addressed it, made fun of it, and instead they made it a bigger deal than it was.
Well, no, and agree with you about that. But Perk is his takes are so bad. His analysis is so bad. It's so way off. And by the way, Stephen A's analysis is so way off. It's way off in every other sport. But in the NBA, it's not the best look either for him with some of his takes and some of his analysis. I swear to God, I mean, I don't know how all this money was put in front of this guy to do what he does, because go back and really, really break down the shit that he says, and he really believes this stuff. And not to mention the fact, the reason why the ratings are down 22% is very, very easy. The ESPN program, the ESPN production is pathetic. The pregame show is pathetic. The halftime show is pathetic, and the postgame show overall is pathetic until SVP takes over. That's why. The TNT people, you tune in for the pregame. You tune in for halftime. You tune in for postgame stuff. And thank God they're coming away. And when Stephen A. tries to ingratiate himself next year into that broadcast, which you know he will, even though they're going to be filming it in Atlanta, I hope they tell him to fuck off. Stay away from my product. The ESPN production is awful from start to finish. Absolutely awful. That's why the ratings are down.
There is zero doubt in my mind that if ESPN tries to fuck around with the TNT, the TNT guys now moved over to ESPN, if they try and screw around, if they try and get in there and the behind-the-scenes people try and tinker with it and tweak it, they will lose every single. I wouldn't be shocked if Barkley said, all right, go screw. If Kenny said, go screw, and Shaq said, the hell with you. I could see them just walking away saying, no, we're not going to do this. So I think ESPN better be smarter than to go out and try and tweak things, do things their way. They're on an island. Let them be. Let them do their thing. Hands off, and make another pre-post game show that you can put on afterwards. Put on something better than what you have right now, but don't touch that show. Don't do a thing to it.
Couple more questions here, Greg, and I'm so glad you're with it, because these sideline reporter topics are something that you always did a great job at, whether it was handling celebrities that were there, the broadcast crew of Mike Gorman and Tommy Heinsohn for the most part for you and all that stuff. You always knew when to shut up once the play started. I mean,
not always. They were one of my biggest faults was a lot of times I tried to make sure, or I wanted to sound like I knew what I was talking about. So I kind of went on a little too much. Sometimes I just should have shut the hell up, or keep it quick and move on. But I did my fair share of ass kissing of players and coaches back in the day. So I see it now. My wife hates watching games with me because anytime there's an on-court interview or a halftime interview, I'm yelling. I will yell at the TV, and she said, "Why are you yelling? They cannot hear you. I can't watch this with you. Will you just go away, go somewhere else and watch the game?" It's just, I'm constantly watching and critiquing sideline reporters and reporters and whatnot. It's a bad habit of mine.
No, it's part of the business, but I just think it's become so fluffy. Now, the other night, so Jackie Redmond, who's doing the TNT sideline reporting, So, and this had nothing to do with Taylor Swift. And this is unbelievable how sensitive the Swifties out there. You people are a fucking joke. This had nothing to do with her. I don't doubt her talent. I couldn't name you one Taylor Swift song, and I don't give a shit. I don't care. I know how talented.
Wait a minute.
I respect.
You could shake it off. You can't name one.
If I heard it, I probably would say, "Yeah, I know that song." But
okay.
I don't know any of the songs by title. So the other night, Jackie Redmond on the hockey team, she's like, she puts this up there, and I'm trying to think. My friend Catherine Tappan, Jackie McMullen, even Emily Kaplan, my friend Mia O'Brien, who works at 1010XL, all these great female broadcasters that I respect and have been sideline reporters before. Would you ever do this, Greg? Put this up there, Jackie.
Can I stop? Can I stop you right there, Pete?
Yeah.
Am I getting paid?
Yeah, you're getting paid. But I'm saying.
Okay, then yes, absolutely, I would do it.
No, this
yes.
is no.
The answer to that is yes.
You're not being told.
If someone's paying me, I'm doing what they're telling me to do.
No, but they're not telling you to write headlines like this under his Twitter accounts. How did I do, Swifties? Also, if you don't drop TTPD lyrics in your Taylor Swift report on the hashtag Stanley Cup final in Florida, are you even a real fan? And it's got the bleh emoji. And I know, but I just can't see. It has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. I'm like, you could punch in. I said it to her back. I said, you could punch in any celebrity, this gushing goo goo gaga shit and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's bad enough when they do it in Madison Square Garden. We just lost Greg again. I'll wait for him to come back on before we finish here. See if we can reconnect again. It's on his end. It's on his end.
I know he's going to think. I know he's going to think this got something to do with us, and it doesn't. It's got to do it on his end. Morning, Bill, by the way, says, love working Midway football games and hearing Dickerson on the PA.
Yeah, back in the day. All right, let me see. Monday football game. So is that something else that I don't know about? Maybe that he's doing some PA announcing somewhere that I don't know about. By the way, all right, there's Greg.
There he is.
He's back again. There you go. There he is, Greg Dickerson.
Hey, you could not have disconnected at a better point because the last thing I heard you say was this goo goo gaga shit, and then it went out. I was like, that's perfect. That's the way to go out.
So this is, how did I do it? How did I do, Swifties? Also, if you don't drop TTPD lyrics in your Taylor Swift report at the hashtag Stanley Cup final in Florida, are you even a real fan? I cannot imagine Catherine Tappan, Emily Kaplan, a lot of other people and females especially that cover the NHL that would put that stuff up there. How would this person handle Madison Square Garden or Philadelphia or Boston, that matter, where the celebrities come out all the time? And it's not about Taylor Swift. It could have been Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington, Sylvester. It doesn't matter. It is it's the post. Not that they showed a picture of the both of them, which I don't give a shit about. And I think most fans don't care. I really feel that way. It's the fact that you put a headline in, that kind of stuff. It just bothers me. I'm not doing a get off my lawn type of thing. I'm just like, other respectable, especially female sideline reporters, look at that headline and go, this is why we get made fun of, because of that. And we lost Greg again. And just like that, we lost him again. All right, while we wait for Craig to come back on, Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. So get on down there, the 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. 781-233-7222 for more information.
Sorry about that, Pete.
Sports World in Saugus, be there. Okay, no problem. All right, so I'm just wondering, doesn't this kind of stuff, though, and it's the same thing with the Knicks and Spike Lee and all that crap. I just think, but the Swifties out there get so offended. And apparently she's brought all these, like the NFL, she's brought all these young girls, at least for one game, which nobody knew.
Well, if you want to go back to Jackie Redmond, I actually applaud Jackie Redmond because she's smart. I've seen what these nut job fans do if if you're the right person in the wrong situation and you crap all over Taylor Swift or you make fun of her.
We lost him again. I'm not saying crap all over Taylor Swift. That's like I said, you could substitute Taylor Swift for any celebrity. I just don't like the line where, how did I do Swifties? I mean, how did I do Billy Joel's? How did I do Elton John's? How did I do Bruce Springsteen's? Imagine if I put a post like that up. How did I do Bruce Springsteen's? And if you don't drop a Bruce Springsteen lyric in your report on the Stanley Cup final in Florida, are you even a real fan? I mean, that's just, to me, it's just real childish. Just real childish. And the whole grand scheme of things means nothing. But if you think a whole bunch of girls tuned in because Taylor Swift was in the stands, which nobody knew about the other night at Sunrise, you're crazy. Crazy. Anywho. 727-858-6650. That is the number. See if we can get Greg back one more time. If not, we'll call it a day with him and do a little mini recap. There he is. Once again, you are back.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
That's all right. That's all right. All right, we'll move on. I'm just saying,
apparently, you know what? You know the problem is, Pete? The Swifties are at us. They don't want us talking about them.
You would never put a headline.
They have attacked my internet source.
You would never put a headline back on your Twitter account that day, and there's a bigger Jimmy Buffett fan than you, God rest his soul, that would say, hey, Jimmy Buffett's, if you don't put Jimmy Buffett's in your Celtics tweet, you're not a real fan. You would never, ever do that. Never. No, you wouldn't.
Oh, we get disconnected again here, Pete?
No.
I think we're getting disconnected again. I don't see you. I don't hear you, Pete. I'm sorry.
How many times?
Oh, like shit, I wouldn't, Pete. Come on, of course I would. Absolutely.
You would do it. If you did it, it would be.
For Buffett, yes. Anybody else, maybe not.
How many times did you see Jimmy Buffett?
I was in the 60s.
You crazy.
64, 65.
Did you ever do the slide off the truck thing into the pool?
No, never did that, but it was one of the few things that I did not do at one of his concerts. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see his band twice this summer. The Coral Reefer Band is out touring with the Doobie Brothers. We're going to see him twice.
Great show.
My 16-year-old son saw Jimmy, I think, 7 or 8 times. So we got him into it at an early age, and he loves him. Absolutely loves him.
I love him too. I only saw him.
I got to tell you a quick story, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last night, we just finished dinner.
Apparently the Last Supper.
That could have not been any perfect.
Oh, my God.
And we'll never know what happened at dinner.
We'll try one more time. One more time. There he is. Hi, you're back. Back again. So you're talking about a dinner, the Last Supper, and then, so go ahead. You're at dinner.
Uh-oh. Now we can't hear him.
I can't hear you. So I can't hear you. Can't hear you. I can see you. Can't hear you. I would bring the phone close to your face, honestly.
Yeah. Well, the audio was working all the way up until the last one.
The audio was working fine. Now it's not working. Did you mute something? No, I can barely hear you. Can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Now he froze again.
There he goes.
I was going to try to
Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth?
Unbelievable. Oh, my God. Tomorrow, by the way.
How's that, Pete? Can you hear me?
There you go. I can hear you. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, you're back.
You know what I like about doing your show? Is I can drop a motherfucker or a shit or whatever, and it doesn't matter. The worst thing about doing conventional TV or radio is there were so many times where I had to stop myself or I had to think, oh my God, don't say that. Don't say that. Now it's like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I enjoyed it much.
Enjoy that much? Oh, boy.
All right.
And that's probably what he's saying right now.
most of it ended up being pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right. I'm trying to think. We covered everything today. We'll give it one last final shot. I want to find out what they had for dinner. We started off at dinner, and then he's faded out the last 3 times. I can tell you this, Angel. Tomorrow, in addition to what's coming up on the network later today?
Later today, we have, what is Monday? We have Lloyd Vance's Insider Football tonight with Lloyd Vance and Kevin Midget. So that'll be on at 8 p.m. And we see Greg has come back. Maybe.
I assume you've moved on, so we should probably end it here because I know I'm getting disconnected the next 5 seconds.
And there goes the video.
Oh my God! Well,
Yeah.
Tomorrow, besides
Pete, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, bud. Let's do it again soon.
No,
Love you.
no, I can't hear you.
Damn it. Use a laptop for the love of God. There. All right, Greg. Oh my God. Okay. What is he? Okay, coming up tomorrow, one of my guests, Angel. We're gonna have I think Jay Flanley on tomorrow. Is Jay on with you tomorrow?
Wednesday.
Okay, so Jay will be on with us tomorrow at 8:05 a.m., I believe. And then at 8:30, Dave Wedge is going to join me, formerly of the Herald. But he just his book is coming out this week, an unlikely story about Marvin, the untold story of Marvin Hagler, and great boxer from the great state of Massachusetts in Brockton. He's going to be joining us tomorrow at 8:30 to talk about the book, and we'll plug it and everything else. And I have a copy of it that I am a quarter of the way through. I'm going to try to finish most of it. It is fantastic. Probably my favorite boxer of all time, other than Rocky Marciano, who I never got to see because it was a little before my day. But because he's Italian, went undefeated in his career before tragically getting killed in a plane. But David Wedge is going to join me tomorrow, Dave Wedge, to talk about the new book, The Untold Story of Marvin Hagler, an unlikely story in Attleboro, Mass. So that's going to be, we'll look forward to that. Meanwhile, I think that's pretty much going to do it. We've covered everything today, Angel. We really have. And so what's coming up on the network once again today?
Lloyd Vance's Insider Football is coming up tonight, 8 p.m., so you guys can tune into that. It is with Lloyd Vance and Kevin Midget. Last week, they put on a phenomenal show, so I'm pretty sure recap what happened over the weekend in the NFL as we are getting closer and closer to minicamp starting here next month, as the Bucs have already started theirs and ended theirs as well. The last OTAs before everybody reports to camp. So listen to Lloyd Vance's Insider Football here on Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, and also the app could possibly be getting an upgrade here. I'll keep you guys informed with that as well. As I mentioned way before, that it could be listed up there on the Google Play Store and the App Store for Apple, and I'm trying to make that happen so it kind of makes things a little bit easier for everybody, because I know some people say when they go to download it, they have a little issue here and there to try to figure out how to do it. So there will be an update later on about that as well. And as always, go back, watch the replays here on SR 1029 The Game. And thanks to Sheila, who came on Friday. Getting some great replay views. So we appreciate Sheila. And then, of course, tomorrow, Tony Cure and the gang will be on, and that will be at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central.
All right. Julie McMullen says before we head out, Devers was asked to take grounders at both third and first base in spring training, which we know. He declined and instead asked for a trade. That request set the wheels in motion for what became a growing divide between the Sox best player and the front office. Yeah, there is no question about it. All right, thanks to Greg Dickerson. Great stuff today. We'll have more reaction from the Rafael Devers trade coming up tomorrow. Sam Kennedy, the Red Sox president, Craig Breslow, the GM, and I'm sure we'll hear from Alex Cora and some of the players as well. The shocking trade that sent Rafael Devers to San Francisco. We'll have more on that and a whole lot more. We'll recap NBA Game 5 between OKC hosting Indiana, and we will preview big time the Florida Panthers Game 6 Stanley Cup playoff final against the Edmonton Oilers. They can close it out with a win at Sunrise tomorrow night. Thanks, Angel. Thanks, Greg Dickerson. Thanks to all you guys for listening. I am Pete. I am back tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. See ya. Have a great day.